Alright, let's do something with this, what we like to call hair. Let's see. That's okay. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa, and I am the crafter, hobbyist, crocheter, knitter, whatever I can come up with. I am she behind Missouri Makes. If you would like to follow me on different platforms, I have Pinterest, and I have Instagram, and I have Facebook. I think I got one more. I'm not sure, but everything will be linked down in the description box down below. Can you tell that I'm rusty? Like, I don't know what to do in front of this camera. It has been, well, it has been over 4 months since I have made a video. I am almost 4 months into the journey of parenthood. It is May 31st. We just had Memorial Day, I believe it was. I get Memorial Day and Labor Day mixed up, and so I'm thinking it was Memorial Day. We didn't cook out or anything like most people do. My husband actually took me and the baby on a little date, and he took me to my favorite restaurant, which is Fuji's, because I love Japanese food, and I got to pig out, and I loved it, and it was well needed. So that's what we did on Monday. Today is Wednesday. If you're new around here, I am a crafter. I crochet, I knit. I have dabbled in sewing, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I make stitch markers. Here's one of them on one of my projects. That is one of my stitch markers that I am using, and that is a project we will discuss in a minute. I have painted in the past. Not any good at it, but I do love it. What else do I do? I have made jewelry in the past. I don't do that anymore. Not my forte. Can't think of anything else that I do. I'm sure there's something that I'm missing. But I dabble in a little bit of everything, if you've noticed. Yes. And if you're new here, I have not been on for, it's been at least 4 months, because Eliana is going to be 4 months old on the 10th of June, and we are on the 31st, and so I have not recorded since before she was born. It is what it is. If you looked on my Instagram or my Facebook, you'll know a little bit of what's gone on. If not, I will share a little bit of my journey here. If that is not your cup of tea and you would rather watch a podcast about crocheting and knitting and stuff like that, you can either go back to my previous videos, or you can wait until next week or whenever I am able to do another video, and it'll be more content on crocheting and knitting and stuff like that. This one is just kind of a, I'm back, and this is why I left for so long kind of video. Let's fix that. So if you have been following along a little bit, you'll know that I was pregnant, and I was about 33 and a half weeks pregnant whenever I got admitted into the hospital. On February 3rd, I believe it was, I went to one of my routine appointments at my OB. I had been switched to weekly appointments because my blood pressure had been slowly rising and they wanted to keep up with everything. And I went to my appointment on the 3rd, which I believe was a Friday. I know that because I had my appointments on Friday. I believe it was on the 3rd of February. And they did the routine ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech told me that the baby was not moving, which scared me. But she gave me crackers and soda and stuff like that and had me go back out in the waiting room to eat and drink all of that. And she's like, I'll come back and get you in a minute and we'll see if that gets her moving. Because with my blood pressure the way it was, she had to pass certain tests in order to go and be okay. That what they considered to be okay. And so I went and ate and drank my soda, and she brought me back and was checking again, and the baby was still not moving, and the fluid was low. I was supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, she said I needed to be over 5, and I was like a 3 or a 4, and so it was low. And come to find out later, one of the doctors that I had seen in St. Louis told me possibly the reason why she wasn't moving as much as she should have was because the fluid was low and she didn't have room to move. So that was a relief. But back to the 3rd, she brought the doctor in and they were looking over everything. There was a heartbeat. She was fine in that sense, but she just wasn't moving. And they're like, we're going to send you to the ER where they can hook you up to machines and monitor you for a long length of time. Are you able to drive? And I'm like, okay. And so they take my blood pressure after they tell me something's wrong. And my blood pressure was through the roof. Of course. And so I started to leave and I called my husband. I'm like, this is what's going on. And so he was at work and he dropped everything and met me at the hospital. And whenever they finally got me admitted into the hospital, my blood pressure, the top number was over 170 and my bottom number was like 106. And so that was considered severe. And so they got me a room, and the doctor came in. And I'm thinking, they should be able to get my blood pressure down, monitor, get everything in order, and then I can go on about my business. That was my plan. I wasn't thinking about having a baby because I'm only 33 and a half weeks pregnant. You know, I've got a little ways to go. And so the doctor comes in. And she's like, this is what we're doing. We are giving you this, this, and this to help lower your blood pressure because it's not good. And she's like, the main goal is to have your baby. It's time. You got to have your baby. And I'm like, wait, what? She's like, you're 33 and a half weeks. And so your baby will be considered premature. And so we are going to have to send you elsewhere because this hospital is not equipped to deal with premature babies. She said, our goal is to lower your blood pressure, find a hospital that will take you and get you to that hospital. And she said, if your blood pressure does not go down, she's like, I can deliver your baby. I am not worried about that. I am confident in I can deliver your baby. But if I deliver your baby, then we are going to have to separate mom and baby, and the baby is going to have to be shipped out to another hospital. And I'm like, okay. So I'm on magnesium and I'm on another blood pressure medicine on top of what I've already been taking. And, yeah. And so and they take my blood pressure and they're like, it's going down, it's good. And so the hospital that they sent me to, they consider 160 over 110 to be severe. And my top number was over 170, and my bottom number was 106, I believe. And so I was above severe at that point. And so they got my blood pressure down, and she's like, we're going to send you by ambulance so that you can get there. And it's like, St. Louis is like a 3-hour drive for us. And she's like, so we're going to have to do some things to make sure that you can be transported and there's no hiccups. And that was fun, to say the least. But it is what it is. And so I'm like, okay. And then they come back and they're like, are you afraid of helicopters? And I'm like, I guess not. And so they're like, well, we can air vac you. And it'll cut your time from 3 hours to about 45 minutes. I'm like, okay. So they got me prepared to be air vac'd. And the hospital, I have never heard anything good about. But my experience was a good experience. They were very kind and very good with me. And so was the guys who did the helicopter. They transported me. They were amazing and very kind and made sure, because with magnesium, I was kind of loopy. It made me loopy. Not in the sense of I was kind of out of my head, but I was like, I felt drugged. I was drowsy and just kind of out of it. And so staying modest and trying to be okay in that sense, they did their job and they were very good. Goodness. Are you okay? Yeah. They were very good in helping me stay comfortable and covered up, and it was a very good experience. They were very kind, and they got me to St. Mary's, which was in St. Louis. And if you don't know, I'm in Donovan, Missouri, so the nearest hospital is 30 to 40 minutes away from us, and they're not equipped to take care of all this. And so they get me transported to St. Louis, and my whole experience was good. Now, whenever we got up into NICU was a whole nother experience, and we did have some mishaps with that, and I was ready to say some words to some people, because that whenever it comes to my baby, I was a mama bear. So, but the hospital itself was a good hospital. And we got up there. They did ultrasounds and stuff to check on the baby. The baby was head down and ready. And they gave me fluids to help with the fact that I was low fluids. And everything turned out okay. They're like, we are going to do our best to wait until you are 34 weeks, and then we will start the process for you to have your baby. I'm like, okay. So I was there from Friday to, they started the process on that next Wednesday. And they started the process for me to have the baby. And I didn't have the baby until Friday, which was on the 10th. It was different. Not what I expected. I had some wonderful nurses that helped me every step of the way and made me feel comfortable. I did have an epidural. I wasn't planning on having an epidural, but with my blood pressure the way it was, I was afraid that if I didn't, that the pain would end up causing my blood pressure to spike and end up hurting the baby. So I went ahead and got the epidural. But I'm not going to go into any gory details about all of this. I will say that I know that there's people out there that go through more than what I went through. But my overall experience, the hospital, the people, everything was good. But it was a very traumatic event. And I put all of my feelings in a box and tucked it away until all of it was over. I had the baby on the 10th. The baby was in NICU from the 10th until the 22nd. So she was only there for 12 days. Praise God. God is good. And so she didn't really have any serious problems. She was 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18 inches long when she was born. She did have jaundice. They had to use phototherapy for a little while. She had a CPAP. They said not because she can't breathe on her own, but because she is so young. There's fluid in your lungs that helps it go in and back out and expand back out. And she was so young that she didn't have enough fluid in her lungs to do the expanding. So she had to have a CPAP to help with that. She can breathe. They didn't have any oxygen on her. She had a CPAP to help with her lungs expand and stuff, which she did fine with. She had an IV and a feeding tube. They had the feeding tube in her until they knew that she could suck and swallow and breathe and do all of that at the same time and do it without hurting herself. So they kept a feeding tube in her, which they called a gavage, I think. I don't know. I don't know all these terms, so if you do, you can go ahead and leave it in the comments, but I think that's what it's called. And when it came to her feeding, she always went over the amount that they recommended. So if she was supposed to have 20 ml, she would eat 30. So she did good, very good in that. And before we left, she was eating 2 ounces at a time, which is awesome. But they were very surprised at the fact that, like, whenever they took her CPAP off, they're like, sometimes that will cause their feeding to go down. It didn't with her. She continued to eat like she was supposed to. Are you getting upset? Are you getting upset? Are you tired of being in that seat? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so my phone moved a little bit. But, yeah, she had phototherapy, she had an IV feeding tube, and a CPAP. So they said that that was all normal for her stage in her gestation, which was 34 weeks. They said that that was all normal and to be expected. There was nothing out of the ordinary. They gave me shots before I had her to help develop her lungs, and so that really helped. I know that once they got the fluid under control and it wasn't low anymore, she started moving around a lot, and she had hiccups a lot while she was still in the womb. And so she leaped bounds compared to what they expected. They told me that she progressed better than any 34-weeker that they have ever seen. And so, here we go. I'm going to say hi to the camera. You see the baby? Do you see the baby? You going to smile for the people? Say hello. Say hello. You're being stingy with your smiles. But, yeah. So, all of that to be said, overall, the experience wasn't bad. But for somebody who had never been through this is my first pregnancy, so I was going to have to get used to people being up in my bubble, my business. That was going to be a whole experience in itself that I was going to have to overcome. But on top of it, all of this other stuff that happened, it was a very traumatic experience for me, and an experience that I didn't cope with until I got home. I let it all go and didn't think about it until I got home. And once I got home, it was hard, very, very hard. But 5-6 weeks into postpartum, it started easing up and doing better. It took me, they had me on 2 blood pressure medicines because my blood pressure was not going down after giving birth. And I was taking at least one, if not, by 7 weeks, I was down to taking one blood pressure pill because my blood pressure was starting to level out. And whenever I went to the doctor at 7 weeks, because I had to reschedule my appointment because I got sick around my 6 week checkup, so it was more like 7 weeks. They told me I did not have to take my blood pressure pill anymore. So after seven weeks, everything was doing good, and I'm off my medicines, and we are all very healthy and doing good. And so I already showed her once, but this is Eliana Grace. We are almost 4 months, and she's starting to hold her head up on her own. She's still a little wobbly, but she's getting there. And we are starting to reach for toys, which I'm excited about, which means I can start buying toys. And I know when my husband watches this, he's going to say, no, you can't. But yes, I can. It's a mama's right to be able to buy her baby toys. But let's see. Oh, let's fix that. She's trying to roll over, but she's not got the hang of it yet. I can tell she's taken one of her feet and she's pushing off the ground, and so she's trying, but she hates tummy time with a passion. So anytime I ever put her on her stomach and it's an instant, I'm mad, I'm screaming, I don't like it. And so doing tummy time is not the funnest, but I try to put her on her tummy enough to say she's been on her tummy. So yeah. Let's see, anything else? The last appointment that we went to, which was over a month ago, we were 9 pounds 9 ounces, and so I'm going to say she is over 10 pounds now, because she has the appetite like her daddy. She has an appetite like her daddy, which is a good thing because she needs to put on the weight. Her doctor wanted me to give her extra formula for calories because she wanted to chunk her up, which I think that she is a good size for her. You see, I think that she is actually well proportioned, but her doctor wants to chunk her up, and so, I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. Let's see. We have not started baby food yet. I hear that you can start baby food between 4 and 6 months, depending on the development of the baby. So I have slowly, gradually started making baby food because I want to give her as clean of a diet as possible. So if I can make her own baby food, if I can make her baby food, then I will, so that she doesn't have any of the added extra stuff. I'm not dissing anybody that uses baby food from the store, because you do you do what you have to do. If I needed to, I would use the baby food from the store. I am not against it, but I do want to give her as clean of a diet as possible. She drinks formula because she has to. I don't have any other options. I was not able to breastfeed, so we do formula. If I could have breastfed, we would have, but it wasn't an option, really. I mean, we did for a little bit, but it wasn't enough to sustain her. So she still had to do formula as a side bottle, and it came to the point where formula was the only thing that she was able to have. And so, what's your deal? Why are you being grouchy? The people don't want to hear you grouch. The people don't want to hear you grouch. You want to look at the baby? You want to see the baby? Oh, goodness. Are you good? Are you good? Look at this smile. Are you good? Would you like a bank? Would you like... Oh, yeah? Okay, so another thing is we are already teething, and she already has one tooth that is almost completely through. I thought that most babies got their 2 front and bottom teeth. She is getting her eye teeth first, and one of them is already almost broke through. Here, take a bink. I have a feeling that this channel is going to hear a lot of that. The joys of parenthood. Let's see. But yeah, that is everything. 26 minutes worth of non-crafty content. I apologize for this long video. But I figure after not being here for 4 months, this would be a longer video trying to get caught up on everything that's going on. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into crafty stuff so that we can go on about our business. To start off, I am working on some bears. I haven't done a whole lot because I haven't had the brain space to work on everything because, believe it or not, taking care of a baby really takes it out of you, especially whenever we were screaming the first few weeks of being home, constantly screaming. So it is what it is. I mostly did my crocheting and my knitting in the car because that was the quietest time that we had with her because she liked being in the car. So that was the majority of my doing. But I am back to working a little bit. And I finished one order that I had started before I had the baby. It's done. It was a bear. And the same client or customer ordered 2 more. And if you don't know this, let me see. There we go. I'm trying not to show the pattern. But that is the bear. But they don't want it Winnie the Pooh version. They want brown bears with different color shirts. And this time they want skirts with it. So I've got to fudge a skirt pattern to go on these bears. But I have got the feet and part of the body done on one of them, as well as both of the heads done. Let's see. This video is going to have all kinds of angles and whatnot because my phone keeps moving every time I have to get up or whatever. So, because I'm charging my phone while I video. So, yeah. I apologize for all of the wonky angles. I am just getting back into the swing of things, and it's going to take me a minute to get used to all of this again. And quite frankly, it's going to be a whole new experience for me because we are dealing with baby, which is awesome. She had to eat and take a nap. So we are in take 2 of trying to make a video. All is good. So I was talking about the bears. And so I've got... You can tell this is where I've started doing the eyes. I haven't done the eyes yet, but I did get the mouth. We've got Head 1, head 2. You see how big the head is. Got that done. They wanted brown bears and the clothes to be different for each. Oh, there's my pen. I was looking for it just a few minutes ago. So the colors that I'm using, one is toasted almond. The other one is latte. These are Hobby Lobby's I Love This yarn. I don't know if that's backwards for you or not. I'll have to look whenever I go to edit. It is a number 4 weight yarn. And I am using a size 4mm crochet hook. In order to not kill my hands, I use a smaller crochet hook. That way I don't have to hold as tight of a grip on the yarn. And so, got the legs done for one of the bears, and I've started on the shirt. One bear is going to have a black shirt with a red skirt, and the other one's going to have a camo shirt, pink camo shirt with a pink camo skirt. And so I did the black one first to get it over with. I understand whenever people say they hate working with black yarn. I've never had this problem, and I know in the comments my husband's going to say, well, where's your glasses? Well, my glasses are at the house, and I'm at the office, so I didn't feel like going and getting them. But it is difficult to work with black yarn, but I am managing, and it's going to be okay, because I don't have much more to go with the black yarn, and then it'll be over with. But yeah, I have to figure out how to make a skirt to go with the bear, because that's not in the pattern. The pattern is a Winnie the Pooh bear, and so, and I can't remember the name of the designer, but, oh, here it is, Rika.craft, Rika.craft, and I got this pattern over on Etsy. The first one that I did was Winnie the Pooh, and then I made another one for her mother that wanted a bear, and it took me a while because I ended up having the baby, and so it took me a while to get around to making it. And then she ordered 2 more, so we are on 3rd and 4th bear from this pattern. I honestly don't like the results of the bear the way I crochet it, because when you look at it here, try not to show the pattern, but when you look at it there, it's a good bear. It's pretty, but whenever I crochet it, I don't personally like it. I think that the heads came out better for this one than they did the last time. I did not really care for the last bear that I did. The recipient liked them. But I think these are coming out better. The feet is the biggest hassle that I have, because the pattern, it tries to stay in it how to do it, and my brain it's not clicking, and so I'm having to fudge it to make it work and be even, because you crochet one foot and then you clip your yarn and you crochet the other foot, and then you attach them together to start the process for the body. And so I'm having to fudge it for it to make sense for me to make them to where they are even, if that makes sense, to where the feet are pointing out evenly. And so I struggle with that every time I go to make the body. I struggle with it. But I think if you look, they look pretty even. And so maybe, just maybe, I figured it out to where I won't have too many more problems. So this is that one. The black is just called Black, number 30. And this is I Love This yarn as well. Crinkling of the bag. The red is just called Red, number 40. I Love This yarn. And the pink camo is called Japanese Fields, number 872. Again, I love this yarn. I'm keeping it consistent with all of them. The pattern calls for plastic eyes, and the first bear that I made, I did embroidered eyes because it was made for a baby, and I did not want, I've never worked with the plastic eyes, and so I didn't want them to end up falling off and the baby swallowing it. And so after that, the other customer, she said she wanted it made exactly the same, and so I've been embroidering the eyes on there, and I've just been using scrap brown. I don't know what this yarn is. I don't know the brand or anything, but it's just a piece of scrap yarn, and I have used this for all of the bears, and I will still have leftovers when I'm done, because it doesn't take much for the brown. And that is what that is. I do have a couple of objects that I am working on in the background, but I'm not going to show them until I get done with this. When I get done with this, I'll be able to start working on those again, because I'm putting all of my time that I have on these bears to get them done as quick as possible, because I don't have as much time to crochet now that we have a baby. And so what time I do have, I put towards these bears until I get them done, and then I will go on to other things. But before I started those bears, I did work on a few things, and I have a couple finished objects. I got some yarn for Christmas. It is a Lion Brand Mandela yarn. I don't know the color. Maybe I can find it online and put it here. I don't know. But if not, I apologize. But this is what I made. This is not a pattern that I followed. I fudged it. It looked good, and I went with it. I had 2 Mandela cakes, and that's what this made. I have not hid my ends, so you'll have to bear with me. These are not my colors. They are pretty. I like these colors, but they are not my colors. And so this one will probably be given away. It did not make a huge shawl. Now, I'm broad-shouldered, so it may look better on a smaller person. Just so you know. But this is what it looks like. I know it will look better on a smaller person. I am broad-shouldered, and 2, I'm just a bigger girl, and that's just the way it is. Not anything bad, but that's just me. And so this would look better on someone smaller. And like I said, they're not my colors. It is pretty. It is very pretty. I did some what I call ribbing, but it's front post double crochets. I did that section. What I did was front post double crochet, regular double crochet, front post, and it makes this ribbing effect, and I really like it. And then I did there's a piece of tape. I did I don't know, maybe it's a half double crochet front post to create a border. And then I did moss stitch, which is single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. And then I did another border. And then I did like the granny stitch. These are clusters. It's 3 double crochets. A cluster's 3 double crochets together. Instead of 3 separate double crochets, it's the cluster. Granny stitch. And that's that. And I alternated between those. So I did another border, did more ribbing, border, moss, and I just continued that all the way down. I just stuck with those 3 stitches. So it's kind of like a sampler shawl. I want to say that I used a 5mm crochet hook from going to the side, but no promises. But yeah, that's that. I finished that. This, whenever we got home, the baby screamed a lot. I thought she was colicky. Figured out it was something else. She's doing better. But the only quiet time that I had to be able to crochet is in the car. And so this was my car project. And I worked on it whenever I had the brain capacity to do it. But that will probably be given away to whoever. I'm not really picky. There's no point in me having it if I'm not going to wear it. So, my next project, let me see if I can find the label, because I saved one of them. Yep. Okay, so I managed to snag some Hobby Lobby clearance. It was Yarn Bee Dream Spun in the colorway Midnight Meadows, and it is considered to be a number 5 bulky yarn. 100 grams is 76 yards. 80% acrylic, 20% superwash wool. And like I said, Midnight Meadows was the colorway. That's what it looked like. Whether your Hobby Lobby has it or if they've discontinued it, I don't know. But I did pick it. I picked up 4 skeins for $1.49 each. So I made a shawl with $6. I mean, you really can't beat that. Because even the cheap yarn is more expensive than that. But I found a simple knitting pattern on Ravelry, and I will, if I remember, I will put the name here and hopefully a picture of the original that is the designer's, so that you can see what it's supposed to look like. I messed up a few times in this pattern, but because it is a simple pattern, it doesn't really matter. To me, it honestly looks like it was intentional. So I don't worry about it. But this is the pattern. This is the shawl. This one's much larger. This one is actually my size. And I can, if I had a shawl pin, which I don't, I'll have to buy one. I could put it over like that and have a beautiful shawl. The colors, there's purple, a maroon color, yellow, green. There's a bit of an orange color, a little bit of blue. I don't know if it's showing up in camera, but it's a simple knit and purl pattern. You do increases. This is what 4 skeins got me, and I did not look at the pattern to see if there was a finish for this so that it didn't roll. I just knitted until I didn't have any more yarn. I got a little ball of yarn left that wouldn't have made a whole row. So I just knitted the pattern, until I didn't have any more yarn. And I actually did the weaving method. You see, there's a little tail here. But I weaved in my yarn as I went so I could snip the colors and snip the ends so that I didn't have a bunch of ends to hide. So that's what I did with this one, so that I didn't have to hide the ends. And the ones that I did have to hide, I went ahead. Hello. I hit the cord. But the ends that I did have to hide, I went ahead and hid quickly. You tell me if you can see the mistakes that I made. If you can, that's okay. You can point them out. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But I took and did a couple extra rows that I wasn't supposed to do at the beginning. Here's one of them. See, right there? It's supposed to look like this right here. That's okay. I don't mind it. I like it. And I'm going to pretend that it was intentional. So yeah. But now that's all my finished objects, just so you know. Now that we are 4 months in, I am going to try, now that my head is kind of back on straight, I mean, I'm still hormonal. I am. You can ask my husband. I cry at the drop of a hat. It happens. I can't help it. It is what it is. But now that I am starting to get myself back to me, I am going to start trying to start bringing more content out. And this, I'm hoping, will be the start of getting things back in order. So, I do have plans that I want to fulfill. And, yeah. So, hopefully here soon in the future, you will start seeing more content from me, more patterns, more videos, more tutorials. If there's something specific that you want to see, whether it be tutorials or patterns or videos like this, or if you would rather see life stuff, you want to see the baby, or you want to see our, I don't know if you could really call it a homestead. We have chickens, ducks, and rabbits. You want to see more of that kind of stuff. You want to, whatever it is that you are interested in, tell me. And maybe I can work it into this channel, because I am flexible and I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I know that I want to start bringing more content out. And of course, I will, no matter what, because this is my channel and I can do as I please, I will be giving up life updates on Eliana little by little. I won't do a whole bunch because this is a crafting channel and I will stick to mainly crafting, but I don't mind to throw in little things here and there. If you are a babyaholic like me, I love watching podcasts that include their family. And there's a couple podcasts that I watch that include life updates and their family, and I enjoy it. And so if that is something that you enjoy as well, then, give me a comment and I will work on it. So, did you see my new sewing box? My husband got this for me for Mother's Day. I love it. It's got, I don't know if you could really call it antique, but it's got a bunch of old stuff in it. And look what he put here. There's my baby's footprints. It's got different stuff. So, I need to go through it and really examine everything. But, until then, it's going to sit here. All nice and pretty. So, yeah. This is life for me now. And I am excited and happy to see where it takes me. Like I said, I have different platforms that you can check out if you want to follow me. I would love it. I don't post on Instagram very much right now. I hope to be more consistent in the future. As I start getting patterns, I hope to be more consistent with my Instagram and my Pinterest. But we'll get there. Baby steps. What are you working on? Are you working on anything particular? Crochet, knit, sewing, tapestry? What are you working on? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know. And if you want to head over to Instagram, you can tag me and show me what you're working on. And I would love to see it. Until then, I hope that you have a wonderful week. Do something fun. It is humid outside. We have officially hit summer here. So, I figure it is yard working time. And I hope to get out and do more things with the kids. So, that is in our future. And, yeah. Do something fun for yourself. Whether it be sit on the couch and crochet or knit, or go out and have a date night, whatever. Do something good for yourself. And I will see y'all another day. Bye.
Do you like apples? Do you like apples? Is that your new favorite? You want some more? You gotta move your hand if you want some apples. You want some? Is that good? Is that good?